By Logan Phillips here, your state representative, District 24, which is Mounds, Bixby, Glenpool, and Northern Okmulgee County. And today has been a tremendous day. We've been out of the district, we've been across the state, we've been doing all kinds of wonderful, fun things. And this is just going to be a quick update video to where we're at in the legislative process, the legislative agenda, where we move forward for the next few weeks at the state capitol, and of course, an update to make sure you go out and vote on that June 28th election. We started today off in Enid, Oklahoma. Drove out there this morning at 6 a.m. for Leadership Oklahoma. They invited us out to talk about broadband expansion in the state of Oklahoma and how we've moved from 47th in the nation in connectivity to 24th in the nation, and how we're shooting up for to become the top 10 in the nation in broadband connectivity. And the massive expansion that we're happening across the entire state, where in the next few years we're going to see broadband connectivity out to 95% of the homes in Oklahoma. That's high-speed fiber, the central heartbeat of our economic expansion, our education systems, our mental health and physical health environments. This is life-changing for Oklahoma. It's going to be a great process. As we progress through that, I'll keep making sure you're updated. As the broadband chairman, it makes it easy to make sure you get information about that. From there, we drove back into Bixby, Oklahoma, back 2.5 hours from Enid, and we were able to participate, though I was a few minutes late. That drive-in took me a little bit longer. And the Bixby Chamber of Commerce invited us up for their legislative luncheon. And of course, that was our very first legislative luncheon with a new district that I was able to participate in. And so I just again want to say a thank you to the Bixby Chamber of Commerce. It was wonderful getting to know you, to be able to meet the mayor and our city council members, and as well as members and community members out there today. So that's fantastic. Got to talk to our president over BTC a little bit and talk broadband for a few minutes there. My favorite subject. So we're in Bixby from there. Then we went out knocking doors. Hopefully you saw me driving around, big guy in a gray shirt, big gray jacked up Jeep. I'm here for you and I want to hear from you. So you saw me around the district, hopefully all today. And then we ended back up at the in Bixby at the agriculture building for the FFA pie auction, which is wonderful. You guys priced me out a little bit of pies. I did try to bid on a few things, but they raised tremendous amount of money. I'm just incredibly impressed by our FFA program here in Bixby. You guys are incredibly robust and really progressing. To see your guys' advisor go for $3,000 to raise funding for scholarships and opportunities, it's just a fantastic program, and I'm proud to be able to support in my old district, my new district, the FFA programs. Make sure if your kids are interested in anything ag, you go and check out those FFA programs. Come up to the Capitol on FFA Day, go to OYE and show some livestock. Whatever you got to do, make sure those kids are involved. Great programs that will change those kids for life. They'll be involved and learn great skill sets and their personal abilities. Now we're back at the farm, and of course we are still raising cattle, turkeys, dogs, and whatever else happens to wander onto this property. So tomorrow we're going to bring in some hay. We're going to do a little bit of farm work. Then we're going to go back out and knock in some doors. We're going to go back into the community. But we also were able to stop today at a new facility inside the district. And this one I'm extremely excited about. The Beeline feed off of 75 and 221st was able to go over and meet their new owners today. Great people, great location. They're expanding out. And tomorrow they are having a farm swap. Now, again, being a farmer, being out in the country, these things are important to us. So go in and stop at the Beeline feed off of 75 and 221st Street tomorrow for their farm swap. Buy some stuff. Check out that new feed store. We need to keep those things going. We saw the supply line shortages issues during the pandemic, and now we have Loop Square meat processing. We have a new feed store in the district. These are incredibly important to support your local small businesses to make sure that they are thriving. So go there, check out the farm swap, buy some feed from them, go to the 4 Loop Squared meat processing just down the street, buy some meat from there, and make sure you're supporting those. Now, this is going to be a little bit of legislative update, and I told you at the end of the week, I'll make sure I do these beginning week and end of week so that you know where things are at, how things are progressing, what we've got accomplished, what we failed to get accomplished, and we hope to still work on, and just how everything's going. Now, for us, right now, last week, we had a deadline week, and we've gone now where everything that can be heard and made into law had to go through the committee process. That committee process for the bills that originated in the House or originated in the Senate has ended. That was last Thursday. We got them all through. Now, we had about 5,000 plus bills this last year filed from either carryover from the 2021 session or filed here in the 2022. And from my quick search, I will get a definitive number come Monday when I get the researchers at the Capitol, who are fantastic, to give me my definitive list. It looks like we've gone from about 5,000 House and Senate bills to down to about 563 pieces of legislation that can become law now. So that is a huge shrinkage. We're going to see out of those 563 pieces of legislation, that's about 5 per state representative. That's a lot more manageable. And so we're going to see and start diving into these specific bills. I'm going to share you this list. In fact, this is the list. So I'm going to share with you this list of bills that can possibly be heard on the House floor. There's no guarantee that they will be, but they can be heard. Now, my bills are in here. Other people's bills are in here. And there is a link on this list to take you directly to the language. If you see a piece of legislation on here that, one, I need to support, tell me. I will go find the author, find out the details about it, and I will support that bill. If you find a piece of legislation that you have questions on, ask them. If it's my bill, I'll answer it. If it's not my bill or something I'm supporting, I will go find the author, I will get your answer, and I'll share it back out with you. And third, there's some of these bills that are terrible. And I hate to say it, I love my fellow colleagues at the Capitol, but some of these are not going to be to the betterment of our people in District 24, and I will be voting against them. So if you see a bill on here that's going to hurt our people or has an unintended consequence, which is typically what happens, make sure you tell me that bill number as well. Because what I will do is go to the author, see if we can't modify that bill, fix that issue, and see if we can't make it to where it at least doesn't hurt our district or doesn't hurt our people. Because sometimes representatives and senators will make a bill that really helps their district with the side effect of it being a hurtful piece of legislation to our district. So those details can always be worked out. We have great relationships across the state capitol. We will deal with those. And if there's just a bill in here that's terrible, that we really don't want, that we got to fight against, that you see raises red flags, tell me, and we will do that process as well. To be a state representative, I have to have your input, your voice, your power to make good decisions. If you engage with me, I take the will of the people and I force it on the government. So I'm giving you the tools and the data and the information you need for you to be an informed and powerful population. So make sure you utilize it well. So I'll be posting out this link and a list of these bills. Feel free to sort through those. So the next step of the legislative process is all the bills that made it out of the committee from the House side now have to go through the House floor. And then we will vote on them as an entire body. Once that's done, those bills will then switch over to the Senate side, and then the Senate bills will switch to the House side, and we will start the committee process again. So we have a few different deadlines throughout the state capitol throughout the year. We made it through the biggest one where we got to get rid of a whole bunch of bills, literally thousands of them. Now we're going to go into the next one where we start debating, modifying, and really changing things around to make sure those pieces of legislation are good. Now do remember that you're going to see headlines left and right about bills that do something or else. That doesn't always mean the bills do that. Headlines are for making clicks on news agencies and medias. If you see a headline and you have questions, ask. I'll read it, I'll interpret it, I'll get the author's intent, and I'll share that with you so that we can make sure that the headline and the intent is actually the same. And if it's not, then we can deal with those as they come up. Now, past that, the legislative process, I do have my own bills that I am really pushing for. We got quite a few of them through the committee process, both last year and this year, and we'll be coming to the House floor. And so I want to talk to you about some of my legislative agenda, some of the pieces that I'm working on, and how they're going to really expand Oklahoma and grow our economies, help our individual people, those type of pieces, because you're going to hear about them. And I want you to be engaged and having input. Now, for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, I have been the broadband guy. If it has the word broadband in it, connectivity in it, I've been engaged with it one way or the other. So this year we have a final big omnibus bill, which is one big bill that wraps up a whole big chunk of broadband, and we're going to be creating the Broadband Coordinator's Office for the state of Oklahoma. We are setting on about $167 million for broadband expansion out of ARPA funding. And if the infrastructure bill finally gets implemented, we could be setting on between $100 million and $1.2 billion for broadband connectivity in the state of Oklahoma. That is generational change. And I'm not talking about one or two. This is a once in 100-year opportunity to build infrastructure that we have not done since statehood. So we are at an epicenter of a broadband expansion that's unlike anything else you've ever seen. And when I say broadband, I'm not talking just about the actual physical cable, the wire, running connection. I'm talking about the side effects of it as well. We have OSU IT and Wes Watkins out in Wetumpka that's paired together to create a fiber line technician program to help with those workforce shortages. We are working on legislation that will help end the supply line shortages. The goal is with this entire broadband process is not just to bring you connectivity to your home. It's to solve the digital divide for our students. It's to give voices to those people that have not typically had them, and it's to be an economic driver. I believe the state of Oklahoma can be the center heartbeat of economic and technology expansion for the entire nation. We are equidistant to every major market across this entire states, which means we can peel in companies from California, we can bring in companies from Utah, we can bring in everything to Oklahoma using the Port of Catoosa, the Ardmore facility, the Port of Muskogee, and we can create a heartbeat of Oklahoma where everything technology related comes through us and is expressed out and diversified out from Oklahoma. It will make our students, our adults, everybody have future-proof, high-paying jobs and give us an industry that will lead us into the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. This is an opportunity for Oklahoma to lead the path. We will be the example for the rest of the nation. I'm extremely excited about this. So you're going to see a broadband bill coming out, naming the broadband coordinator's office, creating that. I'll be running it. We are working with the Senator McCall, Speaker Charles McCall of the House of Representatives. So we have been working with him for the last several years to accomplish all these tasks. So the Speaker has empowered me. We'll be running on the floor. I ran at committee. We'll hit the floor. It will pass. We will get that made into law, and Oklahoma will lead the way in technology expansion. My goal is to bring in a microprocessor chip, bring in the telecommunications connectivity pieces in from Taiwan. My goal is to build an industry of technology unlike anything that's ever seen before and have it housed here in Oklahoma. So that is the first big piece. That's what I've been working on for 2.5 years, but we're getting close to wrapping it up. The side piece of that is a bill that I've ran called the Southeast Asia Economic Trade Office. Now, this bill is something that's extremely close to my heart. So with the technology sector, we know that 90% of all of our technology is either manufactured in China or manufactured in Taiwan. So my goal is to reach into the Southeast Asia region, which is Taiwan, Philippines, Singapore, Korea, Japan, and take their technology manufacturing and actually bring it to Oklahoma. Peel those companies out of China and bring them back to the United States, put them back in Oklahoma, and then distribute those chips and manufacturing and workers from our pool, our place, out to the rest of the world. So we're going to try to set up an office directly in Taiwan, partnering with 7 other states, partnering with several other countries, and creating a new trade bloc where we'll have both, one, a massive import of technology connectors, broadband, microprocessors, bring in manufacturing, but here's the kicker. Taiwan is already our 9th largest importing trade partner. We want to flip that so that we are exporting as much. We have an incredibly robust small business sector here in Oklahoma. So how do we give them more markets? Well, we partner outside the United States. We have to stop thinking about us competing with other states and think about Oklahoma competing as a shining jewel for the rest of the world. So the Southeast Asia region is importing agriculture. They're wanting to send their tourism dollars around. They have an interest in our aeronautics center. So we can actually take our materials, our sectors that we are leading the way in, and export them to Taiwan and sell our goods there, increasing our wealth, our generational wealth, and our industries here in Oklahoma. So that is probably the biggest piece I'm going to run outside of broadband. We are going to build a new technology sector, and then we are going to pump Oklahoma's value and wealth to where we are a worldwide leader in exports across the globe, peeling in those companies from China and taking manufacturing back from overseas. It is exciting. I am pumped about it. It's something I've been working on for the last 1.5 years, and we're going to utilize the Ardmore facility, which is an Ardmore Industrial Park. We're going to utilize the small rails here in Oklahoma for the railways. Excuse me. I've been talking all day, so my mouth's getting cotton mouth. And we're going to utilize the Port of Catoosa, Port of Muskogee, and our starport. We actually have a space station here in Oklahoma. And we're going to use those to create a brand new industry sector. And it's going to be amazing. I'm excited about it. It's a multi-year project. I need to come back so I can finish it, but we are putting the groundwork in now to get all these pieces in place. On smaller scale, outside of recreating the entire infrastructure of the state of Oklahoma and rebuilding a brand new industry from scratch, we are going to focus on a little bit of the problems, the consumer rights, the issues facing Oklahomans. We have a bill that hopefully will end robocalls, those stupid calls you get from your own phone number or fake phone calls. We're going to take a huge chunk out of their business model and force them to end a lot of that in Oklahoma. Now, we can't attack overseas. We can't go outside of our borders. But for those businesses here in Oklahoma, we're going to shut that crap down, and we're going to end those robocalls for you. Next, we have the right to repair, which is a consumer rights protection. Right now, hundreds of millions of tons of garbage happen every year from e-waste. You have devices that you own. The belief is, for me, that if you buy something, you own it, you should be able to do with it as you choose. It belongs to you. You have a personal freedom to pursue your happiness and use it as you see fit. So our right to repair legislation does just that. It gives you the power back on creating, modifying, and adjusting your own equipment. So taking away from mega corporations, multi-interstate corporations, multinational corporations, and giving you some consumer protections and some consumer rights. So we're focusing on that individual and your individual right to use your individual equipment as you see fit. Past that, we have the digital privacy policy. We've been working with Representative Josh West and Josh West and Colin Walkie. We passed the first state's privacy policy, which will be a digital rights, digital privacy policy, so people stop tracking you and you have access and gain power back over your own digital data online. So again, consumer rights, consumer protections. You live your life free of people inspecting you. It's going to be amazing if it passes. We also have a couple of health and mental health issues that we're going to be dealing with this year. The first one, I ran last year a Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We named November as Men's Mental Health Awareness. My history of dealing with PTSD and the veteran community, as well as my history dealing with the Tulsa Boys Home and at-risk young men. I've seen the firsthand accounts and the issues surrounding mental health. So we've got Oklahoma to focus on mental health as an issue. We started as a founding member of the first mental health caucus at the state capitol. We are going to expand those services to help people suffering from mental health issues. Because right now in Oklahoma, we are 10th in the nation in issues from depression, suicide thoughts. We are number 8 in the nation in number of suicides of veteran communities. We are not doing well mentally here in Oklahoma right now. We have substantial issues with depression, substantial issues with suicide. So we're going to try to bring awareness to that as the first step. We've partnered with the mental health department. We partnered with the Department of Health. Last year, we tried to talk the lieutenant governor into growing his mustache for awareness. And we partnered with the Movember Foundation to actually have resources for the entire state of Oklahoma. Then we have a very interesting bill. And now, this is the Psilocybin Bill. And I'm going to share some links in the comments where you can see some of these bills and write-ups. Now, you're going to hear people blast me for the Psilocybin Bill. Specifically, a few of the people that are running against me are trying to use it as a tool to take office from me. Psilocybin is the chemical component inside magic mushrooms. Now, psilocybin has been found to be a treatment for PTSD in our veteran communities that is like flicking a light switch. I served for 6 years in the United States Army Infantry. And in that time, I met and I have some beloved brothers that I served with. Almost all of them at this point in time have either died from an opiate overdose, bad interactions from opiates and other prescribed pills from the VA hospitals, suicide, or addiction issues. And all of those stem from the same root cause, which is they're suffering from PTSD. So I will use whatever tool I can find to make us have a better resource for treating our veteran communities to give them an opportunity. So Hopkins University is actually doing their initial stages. I'm going to allow our universities here in Oklahoma, and I'm working with Representative Daniel Pay on this, to do clinical studies to see if this psilocybin has the potential to actually help our soldiers, help our veteran communities, help those suffering from mental health. And so if it does, then we can start looking at it as a actual statistical, well-researched piece and put things into practice that will help our soldiers. It is exciting to me. I've lost so many of my own friends to these side effects of mental health, substance abuse, suicide, that I don't want anyone else to lose any of theirs. So I will find a way, any way I can, to help these communities and those members that are suffering from mental health. We're going to reach into the human rights realm. We have a bill that's trying to help with human trafficking. Now, many of you don't know that Oklahoma is the belt buckle of human trafficking. They bring people through here all the time, and we have substantial problem with this. We have massive issues with human trafficking here in Oklahoma. But we only have a few beds to actually serve this particular population of people that are extremely high risk. So we were working with a few nonprofits to try to modify the rules and regulations so our churches, nonprofits, faith-based organizations can actually get into the game of helping people suffering in the human trafficking world. So we're working on human trafficking, mental health, physical health, raising awareness through Men's Mental Health Month. We're working on consumer rights, from your right to repair to your digital privacy rights. We're working on ending robocalls and getting rid of those annoyances. And then we're going to expand our entire technology sector, and we're going to offshoot and sell our goods and grow our small businesses in other countries, as well as we are going to build out the entirety of the state's infrastructure like it's never been done before. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for what we're working on, and I'm excited for where this is going to lead for next year. So guys, this is what I'm running on. This is the person I am and the things that I want to accomplish. These are issues that I saw from being out in the communities, being around my people, hearing their voices, and trying to find creative ways to help. Now, this is the legislation that I'm running. But the reality is, as your state rep, it's bigger than just running legislation. It's bigger than just doing the state budget. It's also about helping individuals. If you have an issue that you are suffering from, if you can't get your unemployment, if you're having problems dealing with a government agency, I'm here to be a liaison for you. I have helped thousands upon thousands of my constituents navigate the systems that are in place to find resources to help you and better your life. We've done everything from helping our veteran communities. We've done everything from helping get unemployment benefits to fixing a water tower when it froze and broke, to getting water tanks when we had the big freeze, to fixing infrastructure, finding broken lines. We've done it all, and I'm happy to do it more. Now, for you guys that are new to my district, understand that I am here for you and I want to hear from you is real. It is a statement that I say over and over again so that it sticks in your brain, because I am Logan Phillips and I do want to hear from you. I want to hear your problems. I want to hear your successes. I want to hear what you're doing great, because your knowledge and your power empower me. I'm a smart enough guy to understand that I'm dumb in a lot of ways, and I can't know everything. I can't be a specialist in every single subject. But we have 45,000 individuals in our district alone. And out of those 45,000 individuals in our district, I promise you, a few of you, probably a whole lot of you, are specialists in your realms. And your specialty is needed. Your voice is needed for me to make good decisions. If you have a creative idea that will help Oklahoma, I'll run that bill. If you have an issue that you're facing and you want me to help stop and be your ally, I'll be your advocate. Whatever you need from me, I am your representative. I am not here to take the government's voice and force it upon you. I am here to empower you, take your voice, and force it upon the government. Guys, I am Logan Phillips. I'm your state rep. I want to continue. June 28th is election. Now, we have an election that's coming, and these always come into negative things. I've had multiple people run against me in the past. They always try to go negative. It's their prerogative, and it's turning out that this election is probably going to be the same way, and you're going to hear a bunch of negative things about me. They're going to say flat out lies. I've had people call my own family and threaten them with this job since I've taken the new district. I've had people cuss me out online and send me threatening emails and voicemails, and there are some loud, vile people that believe that they can only make change by screaming and profanity and being hurtful. It's fine. I'm not going to be that way. If my opponents, whoever they will be, want to go that route. I understand it. It's hard to go up against an incumbent. I took out an incumbent when I took office, and I did it without doing anything negative. Now, many of you, I've been getting phone calls all day and yesterday about polls that you received. I am not the one that did those polls. I am not trying to find pieces to attack anybody on. I'm not going to do it. It's not my style. You saw what I'm excited about. I like looking forward to projects. I like doing the work. If you want someone to do the work, if you want someone to be engaged, if you want someone to hear your voice, I'm here for you, and I want to hear from you. Guys, District 24 covers Mounds, Bixby, Glenpool, and northern Ocmulgee County, north of Highway 16. If you're in that area, I want to hear from you. Reach out. My cell phone number is 918-849-1512. I'm Logan Phillips. June 28th is election. If you'd like me to continue being your rep and you like what I'm working on, vote for Logan Phillips on June 28th. Other than that, I hope you guys have a very fruitful day, a great night, and I'll see you on the doorstep and over at the Beeline feed store tomorrow. Guys, have a wonderful night.